Harry Kane.
Harry Kane! It's Kane again!
Michael Olise.
Olise! It's another one!
Luis Díaz.
What a story being written! Luis Díaz!
Bayern Munich do not possess a perfect front three, but right now they are the most unstoppable trio in the world.
73 goals and 38 assists over the course of this season. That's over 100 goal contributions between them all. And now is when we can start to compare them against some of the all-time greats.
They have a striker once doubted in the Champions League, a winger considered not quite at the level for the biggest stage, and a player whom no one was initially sure would truly fit at Bayern. But what is truly frightening is that none of them need to be perfect, because when those three stand together, all individual limitations disappear and Bayern become an attacking machine that no team can predict, let alone stop.
Bayern are just too good. And while, yes, we want to romanticize about Real Madrid and the Champions League, for good reason, I'll add, this version of Bayern, I don't think succumb or give up that lead.
The numbers do not lie. Around 2.8 to 3.2 goals per match, over 100 goal contributions in just half a season, and roughly 70 to 75% of Bayern's total goals coming directly from this trio.
Harry Kane, legit goal scorer. Olise, one of the best dribblers in our game, can make anyone look like an absolute fool, like they don't deserve to be on the football field. Like Luis Díaz is the guy that makes you go, damn, Liverpool shouldn't have sold him, he's so damn nice.
These are not the statistics of a team simply in form, but of a side overwhelming every defence they face, from the Bundesliga to the Champions League. Watching them is not about surprise, but an eerily familiar feeling, as if Bayern always find the same way to break through, yet opponents never have an answer for it. And that is the most dangerous part. Not how many goals they score, but how they make scoring feel almost inevitable.
As good as Bayern Munich was, I can tell you that this wasn't their best performance. They have been better than this season.
If you look at each of them individually, these are not a perfect players. Kane was once questioned over his ability to decide big Champions League matches. Olise was seen as not consistent enough to carry the biggest games, while Diaz has often been criticised for lacking composure in decisive moments. But what makes Bayern so dangerous lies elsewhere. They no longer need each individual to be perfect. Bayern placed them within a single system where Kane does not have to carry games alone, Olise does not need to create the difference by himself, and Diaz does not have to finish every move on his own. And when those three limitations are put into the right system, they are no longer weaknesses, but the foundation of a trio operating like a complete attacking machine.
When you talk about trios, there can be only one trio that comes to mind. You might be thinking about Barcelona's own, but in the modern era, there's been some significant trios. So it got us thinking, how does this Bayern front three compared to some of the most iconic front threes?
If you still think Harry Kane is just a goal scorer, then you are completely missing his most dangerous version. Harry Kane right now is not simply scoring goals. He has reached an extremely rare state, player who delivers the output of an elite finisher with around 45 goals per season and roughly 0.95 expected goals per 90 minutes, while simultaneously providing the influence of a playmaker with around 3.0 key passes per match and approximately 0.35 expected assists per 90 minutes. These are the kind of numbers that evoke the destructive force of Erling Haaland, but combined with the connective intelligence and playmaking structure of Karim Benzema at his Ballon d'Or peak.
Trying to win the Bundesliga, Harry Kane has been a massive part of not only their domestic success, but also the European success. In 35 appearances, he's had 30 goals. That is the most over the last 3 seasons of any player.
But what is truly frightening does not lie in the numbers. It lies in the way Kane is taking control of matches. He no longer stays inside the box, he leaves it constantly. With around 35-40 touches per game outside the penalty area, Kane drags the entire opposition defensive structure out of position simply through his presence. One centre-back steps out to follow him, and instantly the whole defensive system is stretched like a net being torn apart. And that is when Bayern begin to attack. Not in an organised way, but in sudden explosions. Kane is involved in nearly 40% of build-up sequences leading to goals, not to finish them, but to dictate the direction of each move. He slows the tempo, draws the press, and then with a single pass or turn, launches the entire Bayern team into acceleration.
Brilliant. I mean, we've gone this far. We haven't even spoken about Harry Kane yet. I mean, we talk about individual players. He has scored 20 goals in all competitions so far.
In the biggest matches, this becomes almost impossible to control. An average of 1 goal plus 1 assist, along with 4-5 chances created per game. Not just output, but a clear sign of a player dictating the tempo like a conductor. And when Kane moves away from the central channel, the consequences appear immediately. Michael Olise is freed in the half space, while Luis Díaz instantly has the corridor to attack in behind the defence. It is not that Bayern play around Kane, it is that Kane decides everything Bayern are allowed to do with the ball.
And Harry Kane was the architect.
If Harry Kane is the one who breaks the opposition's defensive structure, then Michael Olise is the one who punishes them instantly in that space. Michael Olise is not simply a creative winger. He is operating as one of the most dangerous chance processors in Europe right now. With around 14-16 assists per season, roughly 3.0 key passes per match, about 0.40 expected assists per 90 minutes and 2-3 big chances created per game, Olise does not just create opportunities, he sustains a constant level of threat that keeps opposition defences permanently stretched. In terms of key pass ability, he is approaching the level of Kevin De Bruyne at his peak, but the difference is that Olise does it from a position where opponents never want to see a playmaker appear, the wing.
Holy smokes. He just keeps getting better.
He is one of the best players in the world.
Absolutely.
There's no question about that.
But you cannot judge him by numbers alone, because the most dangerous thing is not how many chances he creates, but the way he always appears in the right place at the right time, as if Bayern's system itself opens up a space specifically for him. He does not stay fixed out wide. He drifts into central areas, occupies the half space, and receives the ball between the lines, where a single touch is enough to tear a defence apart. Every pass into the final third from Olise is not just progression, but a situation that immediately forces the opposition into a reactive defensive state. In the biggest matches, this becomes even more extreme. 4-6 key passes and 2-3 clear chances per game are no longer just creativity, but a redesign of how the match unfolds. Olise does not create chances randomly, he consistently places his teammates in situations where scoring becomes almost inevitable. And the key lies in his connection with the entire system. Around 60-70% of the chances Olise creates come from spaces already broken open by Harry Kane, the player who drags centre-backs out of position and distorts the entire defensive structure. At that point, Olise does not need to create chaos. He simply steps in and exploits it like a predator. If Kane is the one who breaks the defensive system, then Olise is the one who makes it pay immediately. Olise only needs a single gap to turn it into a chance. And that is where Bayern Munich bring you Luis Díaz. Díaz is the one who tears defences apart to make that gap exist from the very first moment. The instant he begins to accelerate, the opposition's defensive structure no longer exists as a unified block. It is stretched, distorted, and ultimately broken into fragmented pieces. With some of the most explosive pace in Europe, direct 1v1 dribbling ability, and suffocating pressing intensity in the final third, Díaz does not influence the game in an accumulative way, but by collapsing structures within seconds. Around 0.6 expected goals plus expected assists per 90 minutes, roughly 6 progressive carries per match, 8-10 pressing actions in attacking areas, and 3-4 box entries underneath the surface, because his true value lies in forcing opponents to react in a state of tactical panic. In terms of ball-carrying ability, he's approaching Vinicius Jr., but the difference is that Diaz does not just progress the ball, he drags the entire defensive line with him and breaks its shape. In Bayern's system, Diaz is not used as a conventional winger. He is a chaos switcher. A single burst of acceleration, a diagonal run, or even a pressing action is enough to trigger a chain reaction that forces opponents to break their own structure. He does not need many touches because each one is coercive. Either the defense drops deeper or the shape collapses. When Harry Kane, Michael Olise and Luis Díaz all on the pitch, Bayern Munich no longer play in the sense of efficient attacking. They are accelerating the process of scoring to a level where opponents cannot react tactically in time. The metrics reflect this clearly. The team's expected goals increases by around 20-25%. The number of big chances rises sharply, and the time needed to create a clear opportunity is significantly reduced. But what is frightening is not that Bayern create more, it is that they create faster, as if the entire system has been forced into an instant execution mode. And when you break down the sequence, it is almost always the same to the point of applying psychological pressure on opponents. Kane pulls a centre-back out of position. A split second later, Olise appears in the space that has just been torn open, and instantly Diaz bursts in behind the defensive line like an unstoppable chain reaction. The key is not 3 separate actions, but a continuous sequence in which the opposition have almost no time to reset their defensive structure. If you think their chemistry is what makes this trio so frightening, then you are mistaken. You need to look deeper to see that it is their interconnectedness that is truly dismantling every opponent. A form of cross-dependency that breaks structure. Kane does not just score, he elevates Olise's creative ceiling by dragging entire defensive lines out of position. Olise does not just assist, he turns every movement of Diaz into a clear chance. And Diaz does not just provide depth, he is the one who breaks the defensive shape so Kane can reappear inside the box. And when you look at it as a whole, this is not 3 players added together. It is a system in which each one forces the opponent into error before the ball even reaches the second. They do not just score goals. Harry Kane, Michael Olise and Luis Díaz are doing something far more dangerous, controlling how goals are created from the very root of each attacking sequence. They do not wait for chances to appear. They force opponents to create spaces for them to exploit, whether they want to or not. They are not just attacking, they are shaping how opponents must defend from the very start of the match. Every team that faces Bayern no longer plays according to its own plan, but is forced to react to the structure imposed by this trio. Individually, all 3 already belong to Europe's elite, but together they do not simply add their strengths, they create a new level of output. Where expected goals rises, big chances increase, and the speed of chance creation is pushed to a level that prevents opponents from reorganising their defensive structure in time. And that is the key point. This is no longer a story about individual fall. It is a sign of something far greater. An attacking system that has reached an optimal state, where every movement has purpose, every space is created deliberately, and every goal becomes an almost inevitable consequence of the structure. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to hit like to help this video reach to other football lovers, and hit the subscribe button to follow for more interesting videos about football stories. See you in the next video.